Hello and welcome to another scene set in the grand and dark city of Odessa as we return to the members of our court, Sans One, who unfortunately was engrossed in his duty of keeping watch over Elysium considering recent events. Has been unable to attend, but will be kept in the loop, of course, as he is a most respected member of Baron Ulrich's court. The rest of them, however, specifically those of the law enforcement kind, have arrived at a round table in the Palace Elysium, something of an exclusive club. Only individuals of standing of a title can come and go freely, and even they may not feed there. The Baron has claimed this place as his feeding ground. But they sit at a rather lovely ornate round table with fine carved chairs, all sitting in their respective positions. The new sheriff sitting not quite opposite the Baron, the Seneschal at his side and the Scourge on the other. Makes something of an interesting sight. Two low clans and two kindred, two Canaanites of the high clans. Almost polar opposites, yet they seem to do their jobs rather well. And Ulrich has called this meeting, perhaps at the behest of the law enforcement, as a way to end this siege once and for all. For they have stalled it, but they have not ended it in its entire. And that is the topic of tonight's meeting, as Baron sits at the end of the table and has welcomed everyone, and will allow whoever wishes to motion for the start of this meeting to begin.
Seneschal will, after a short break, or a short pause, just look up and say, on behalf personally and behalf of the Baron, I'd like to thank you all. Thank you for the ingenuity, quite ingenious way you have stalled or very seriously crippled the assaulting forces' plans to take the city. But we must all redouble our efforts to see how we can remove them from this place.
Indeed, your work is most appreciated.
Thank you. What are we going to do to put an end to this siege for good?
This is a fairly good question. I am familiar with the ways of Sedgwick warfare, but not necessarily the siege tactics. No doubt this is just the start of many motions.
I believe I can help with that.
Indeed, you are in a convenient position of knowing much of the ways of your former allies.
Well, I heard that the siege machines are destroyed.
Yes.
That is good. Well, they're mostly for show. They become useful, but it's the equivalent of showing their dicks around. Have we received any calls for surrender yet?
Not to my knowledge. Voda is still fairly early to the siege. We can
Well-
still last many, many months.
That is good. That means that they haven't started to go through with the siege yet. Because in Seljuk siege, the first step is always asking for surrender.
So they are still in the planning phase then.
Probably, more or less.
What would happen after they call for surrender? As it is fairly obvious that the initial call will be rejected soundly.
Well, after we reject the surrender call, you see that big army gathered right outside?
Yes.
That army is going to split into platoons and surround the city from all sides. No land access. I don't know if Edessa has a, port or something, OC?
No, it does not. It has a river running through it, but it's not a port. It's not a coastal city.
No, that's bad. Okay. So, from all four directions. There will be no way in or out from the walls. As much as you pop a head out from the walls, you will get an arrow. After that, the real siege starts. They will have a lot of archers. And trust me, they will rain arrow down inside the city over the walls. They have bows to do that. So us having walls would not matter that much when it gets to that phase.
Do they mean to shoot flaming arrows, burn the city down, or just...
They'll probably do that. The buildings I saw outside are mostly wood. There are some stone buildings, but they are mostly wood, so they probably will bombard the city with fire arrows.
It would make sense for them to start damaging our infrastructure, considering they all want us to surrender as soon as possible.
And then the night raids will start. They will attack at the middle of the night, using dark as a cover.
They will attempt to scale the walls in
They
the
will.
night.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
He said they will. He asked the question as they will attempt to scale the walls in the night.
Precisely.
I see.
And I have to remind you that this will happen from all four sides. It will look like they are attacking randomly, but they are not.
Would this not mean that they would be, well, maybe not thinly spread, but at least it would take them time to gather everyone at one point if they were attacked, correct?
If we wish to attack at night, it may be worth focusing our forces on one side during the day and then respreading them out over the course of the evening.
Also, do we have enough food and water in the city?
We have access to fresh water. A river runs through the city. I have made the motion to the mortal nobles that it is a priority to make sure that flow does not stop.
Oh, they will stop that flow. When they surround the city, there will be no way of getting any food or water into this city.
We have already gathered all the food we can.
That's good. But
We
they
have...
will either stop that river from flowing, or they will make a new riverbed by digging a new one.
We will need to make constant efforts to make sure that they do not succeed in that goal then.
This is good. And the last part is probably will be the most scariest part. They have a platoon of very highly specialized soldiers that can dig tunnels under our walls. And considering that we have a river going through the city, the entry point and the exit point of those rivers will be very, very weak points for them to do it easily.
But it does mean two of their priorities exist in one place, which means they'll be predictable.
I
Not
hope
that they
so,
will be.
but they can also make us think that they will go for the river points, but they can trick us into protecting those two places, then dig their tunnels under the walls.
That is true.
If we let those tunnels open up inside the city, we will be overrun. There will be no way
Yes,
from us to get them back.
Is there a way to, what shall we say, predict where these tunnels might be coming?
That's the worst part. There is no way of telling. Unless you are outside the walls, of course.
If I might interrupt, has Caltracus not been to see you, my baron?
No.
Well, then you may be interested in speaking to him. I know for a fact he retrieved a piece of paper from one of the engineers' tents that likely contains a map of these tunnels.
Interesting. Shame, as Sutite had to be the one to retrieve it. Alas, this is good news.
Well,
And we do have allies within the city still.
The biggest problem with me is I cannot send my hawk out to scout, because they know what that hawk looks like. As soon as they will shoot it down.
well, speaking of these tunnels, would it not be a problem that the map has been stolen? Would they not know whether that someone might have the plans for these tunnels?
They would not know. The tent it was in burned down. But they would assume that the part of it had burned with it.
Excellent. Perfect.
It also appears to me that considering the fact that this is a very much a multiple stage and complex set of maneuvers. That if there were to be holes in the chain of command, these this siege would be a lot harder for them to pull off.
And also, if we can survive through all this, the last thing they will do is they will gather the entire army into one point again, like it is now. And then they will do a fake retreat, hoping that the army of the city will go out and chase them. If that happens, they will pretty likely to get the city.
If we make it to that point, we may be able to use that to our advantage.
We could.
Though, first things first.
If you want my advice on this, we should take at least half of their archers off before they surround the city. It will cripple them. If they have no archers, they have no way of bombarding the city to keep us under pressure, so they can proceed with the next steps.
If they let off the pressure, then we can send out small parties to make sure that their other plans are delayed.
How would you suggest that we deal with their archers? Seemingly,
Well,
this is a large part of their army.
We use their tactics against them. We sent out groups in platoons, not in one big force, to run tactics. And then as they start to scatter and go separate ways in their platoons to break this, we pick them down one by one.
There are also other means of ending the lives of these archers en masse. But yes, that is a good tactic.
But we do have one problem. One very big problem. They have those walls amongst them.
Madeline smiles a bit at that.
They will show themselves.
I am quite positive that they would be otherwise occupied.
I very well hope so.
Yes, that is where our friends come into play.
Well, Baron, do you remember the little rescue mission that we had?
Yes.
We can use the same exact tactic that they used. Let our friends loose among their numbers to plant chaos and fear. And when they are facing these friends, we will use the hit and run tactics and call their number.
Yes, this seems like a sound point of strategy. I would also recommend seeing if we can dig up what individuals lead each platoon. If we don't necessarily need to cull whoever's at the top, but if we can leave holes in the chain of command, it will leave them very disorganized. Communication will break down.
It will. But even if we kill some of the commanders, some other man will rise to the occasion, to its place. Turkish armies are not like... In Turkish armies, any man can become a commander if they are good enough.
We'll see how many are good enough.
That we will.
If we can frame some of these cullings as perhaps not attacks from our side, but attacks from within, it would be even better. I do have the power of persuasion. I know others among us do. And there's always the means of planting evidence.
Well, if I can find out which families are out there in that army, I know a few families that are...
Clive rivalries. However, how many archers do you think? Let's see. They have about 40,000 men, the majority of which would be archers. I believe we have, in common, we have approximately 300 knights and many thousands of men-at-arms, but still only a fraction of the number.
The thing is, at least the half of their numbers will be archers, if not more.
20 to 30,000.
Thousands of those soldiers will be those specialized soldiers that I told about. Because digging with those tunnels are not easy. Sometimes as much as 100 men have to work at the same time to dig those. But they do have a very distinct problem. A disadvantage.
Arik waits for the Scourge to answer. He kind of nods his head. Is it an affirmation?
They have to be right under the... well, right next to the walls in order to be able to dig them. So, if we can stop the archers, we can... cauldrons of boiling oil. That will probably stop them.
Yes. If we stop the archers, we stop the siege. It's just a matter of how many we have to kill to do that.
The more we kill, the better. And also, knowing when the help from the other cities will arrive would probably be a good thing too, because when they arrive, it will give us a chance to put them between two armies that will squash them in between like a pair of trap walls.
I will see if I can get a message sent out to Constantinople.
Well,
Arik completely blew. Oh no, he does know you hate Byzantium.
yeah. Send me, please.
Oh yeah, no, it slipped his mind. Let's just say that. It does poison the well a little bit between you and him. The fact that he said that, maybe, but then again, you do have a common enemy right here. Can't always pick your friends here.
Yep.
Word has been sent out to Jerusalem already, although there has been no response thus far. They are treasured allies of Edessa. However, there is perhaps no harm in hedging bets. A sizable retinue has been left behind by the Byzantine forces.
Well, after constructing a sound defense and instructing the forces of the city about the siege that they're going to endure, I can try to get past and get out from the city right to Jerusalem and direct their army so they will be more than useful as they can.
Maybe we will need confirmation that they're actually on their way first. I do have... Well, the barony has certain individuals which are very much capable of doing so. If we do get confirmation that they're on their way, that they are nearby, of course, we will make an opportunity for you to reach them. Although,
As long as I can get a clear road in front of me, no one in that army will be able to catch me.
as for the archers, well, there's more than one way to stop an archer, of course. They need arrows. It may be worth taking a second look at the supply train. But we will attempt this strategy of allowing them to split themselves up and be picked off first. I may have a specialist group of Canaanites infiltrate the camp again to sabotage the supply train. That way, we will not be wasting numbers on fighting on two fronts. We don't need a large force to hit priority objectives.
You'll probably notice that Madeline is she's not passive, but she seems to be listening quite intently to, well, the both of them. She's not saying much, which might be a little different from.
I have much sway among the mortal military of this area. I'll direct them with your advice in mind. And we will call upon our substantial investments to acquire them the appropriate equipment. Is there any other matter that anyone wishes to bring to the court this evening? I'm under the impression that there's been a lack of progress on the front regarding Lady Beatrice.
Well, close to having all the. I might know where this meeting is to take place, but I'm quite sure that these plans were laid before the siege began.
Regardless, if you have an idea of where she's going to be, then I would advise taking that risk with certain precautions.
Of course, with that.
Of course, she is effectively breaking the fifth at this point. And I'm not in the mood for her games any longer.
Of course.
also need to chat with Redman concerning the much larger scale problem of how so many Cainites came to disappear from the city to begin with. I know some of us have made some progress on that front, though the details are still not clear. Other than that, I believe the Hunter situation has been dealt with. The Lupine situation has been contained successfully. And the breach of our walls that happened recently has been dealt with. Of which I must thank my sheriff for regarding his most noble sacrifice.
Nice. And I thank you for arranging my revival. And he will keep particular attention to Madeline and everything.
She smiles and nods back.
We treasure our allies here in the desert. Alright, just smiles how smoothly this meeting seems to be going. I will state, well, if that is all,
I believe so, Baron.
my Scourge, there is a matter I'd like to discuss with you in private, if I may. The rest of you, have a pleasant evening and good hunting.
Good evening, then.
Sharon, would you do me the honors and follow me?
Of course, my lady.
She will offer an arm, and Madeline and the sheriff will leave together.
No, Oktar is going to get up and start following Baron if he's like walking away.
Baron's remaining in the meeting room.
Okay.
The other two have simply left. It has been something of a curiosity of mine for some time now regarding your advanced abilities in areas that I'm perhaps not familiar with. Particularly regarding your kind's ability to see in darkness. He just waits to see how Oktar responds to that.
Yeah, he's gonna nod his head.
I was wondering if perhaps you could teach me this ability so that when future battles take place, I'll be able to more appropriately assess the situation at hand. As I'm sure you've noticed, I prefer to direct rather than physically take part in a battle. I find that it often leaves me handling dual tasks.
Every army needs a general.
As such, I would be inclined to ask that you educate me on this power of yours. I am quite aware that it would require
Well,
a link between us.
I don't know that much, but I can teach you as much as I know.
It would be appreciated. course, in return, I am more than willing to invest ever further in you. You have proven yourself most loyal and resourceful.
He's gonna nod again.
So I suppose to not stand on ceremony and beat around the proverbial bush for too long. I suppose we should cement this run so that the teaching may begin as soon as possible. I'd rather not be learning this ability after the siege has ended. He smiles.
Oh, see, we have like a we're in a like a castle or like a palace or something, right?
Yes. What Auric is talking about is literally a blood bond, because he is aware that he would need to bond himself in a minor fashion to you in order to learn this parador.
Okay. And he's gonna look at Ulrich and he's gonna go, "Do you have any open grounds in this palace?"
Yes. But first, and he will, there'll be like 2 chalices. One that he'll cut his blood, he'll like, there's like a shelf nearby, and he just takes these 2 chalices, which aren't too fabulous, you know. They look nice, you know, but they look more like standard, you know, they don't stick out as particularly ostentatious. It's just typical noble snobbery.
Mm-hmm.
He'll cut his hand and allow the blood to fill the chalice to being half full, and will basically pass the other empty chalice for you to do the same.
Yeah, he's gonna do exactly the same.
At which point, he'll switch the chalices around, of course, so that they're drinking the right blood, and will raise the chalice. It says, "To the future of Odessa."
He's gonna raise his chalice too, and then drink it.
Yes. Auric drinks it, and both of them feel the sweet sensation of vitae flowing through them. Much more potent than normal human blood. It definitely feels beautiful to taste. And yes, Auric does formulate a small bond with you. He does feel certain feelings perhaps become a bit more prominent than they were before, but it's not something that particularly overwhelms him too much.
Yep, it's just a one.
Yeah,
so
it's still within his control, but it's still there.
Yeah,
he still you know, he still definitely feels the very real effects of it come into play. Then I suppose we should make our way to the open grounds, if you have anything planned.
well, I need to go see the preparation of the defense, but send me word when you have a night free, and we will meet at this palace grounds. I will bring something very specific.
Of course. I thank you for your generosity in teaching me this gift. Time, maybe I'll teach you some of my own. As of now, however, you are correct. We should perhaps prioritize our immediate defenses. Have a pleasant evening, my Scourge.
You too, Baron Ulrich. And he's gonna walk out.
And you hear a rather loud "good night" as he closes the door. And with that, Auric is left alone to ponder the progress he's making. He will have to invest much in the defense of this city, and it seems he'll have to invest just as much in the manipulations that he'll soon be engaging in regarding these petty nobles. And with that, I think we can end the scene at the end of perhaps the first true court meeting of Edessa.